Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. Today we're going to talk about a few bits around how Classic has kind of changed retail world of Warcraft for me as a game, as well as a few plans on the future for the channel. Now from Classic to retail, they really are two very much different games overall, and the longer that I've played both of them, the more apparent to me this has become. And I've never really wanted to be that classic good, retail bad kind of channel. In fact, I have quite a few videos looking back at previous expansions. I did a series that is multiple hours long looking specifically at the positives and negatives each expansion and my takes on all of that, and even then I remember the majority of it being good, though there were some definite bumps in the road along the way. And I even did a couple of videos on Shadowlands before it came out because it was showing a lot of promise and really looked like it was going to be a step back up from BFA, which had turned quite a few players away from the game, especially with Classic coming out alongside it. And I played Shadowlands for a couple weeks post-launch to get a decent starting impression of it, because at the end of it I'd like to do a video similar to how I have with the other expansions, and well, you can't just do it entirely through word of mouth and reading things online. It does help to have been there and given the game an actual go and gotten a feel for it yourself. Just the other day though, I logged in after having not played for a little while, ran around for about 20 minutes and logged back off. I wasn't really sure what to do with myself. I've reached that point on my main character where I've really sort of capped my progress unless I want to invest a lot more time in group activities. It is an MMO though, so of course that should be the case. A solo player should not be on a similar power level to somebody who is completing really high level mythic keys, doing a lot of arena or mythic raiding. The thing is though, I don't really have the time to raid both Classic and Retail, and the real endgame for Retail for me has always been mythic raid for the longest time now. And to do that, you need a guild. But as just mentioned, I can't really commit to that. And I don't want to be the person that keeps disappearing and coming back and saying, oh no, I'll be back for the next patch, and then after a few weeks I'm gone again and just constantly in and out the door. That isn't good for your mythic guild, it's not good for progression, and it's especially not good when so few items drop in raids as well. So the real alternative for me as a player to actually continue progressing my character would be to pug. First of all, if you're pugging, you're not pugging mythic raids in retail. That is just not happening beyond perhaps the first boss or two. I'm not even sure what the difficulty looks like. And Classic has kind of killed the idea of pugging anything on retail for me. Even Mythic Plus, which to be honest I'm just kind of a I'll do one key, get it out the way to get something in the box kind of guy. The difference between pug in Classic and in retail is crazy. Retail you sign up on the LFM tool with link achieve, or check your progress or be at this item level, and sort of just hope people know what they're doing. Using Discord is not the norm at all. If groups fail slightly, people just disappear. There will be other groups running, no problem, and everybody is from a huge variety of different servers. Classic though, well, initially I came into Classic with the retail mindset towards pugging, which was don't do it. And I didn't join a single pug until midway through Phase 5 when I was ranking my hunter, because I was going for some offset gear like Zin Rock from ZG, which I never saw, Ancient Petrified Leaf from Molten Core, which I never saw, and in the end I just stopped doing pugs because I decided the character was absolutely cursed when it came to getting items. And I thought if your average retail pug was anything to go by, then Classic would be a complete disaster. Imagine trying to organise 40 people. I avoided them like the plague, when in fact they are just so much more organised than retail has ever been. Sign-up sheets, debuff slots, tank assignments, buff assignments. I've had Discord links even for 20-mans, which I kind of rolled my eyes at a bit, but it's better than not being on Discord, to be honest. Imagine joining a random pug on retail with link progress be XYZ item level. In comparison with that, it just seems like a total joke. Yes, there are guys who run weekly pugs on retail too, but much less so than Classic, and most of them are just selling the runs for gold as well. One big difference that I cannot miss out, and I have to mention between retail and Classic raiding, is that Classic is really easy compared to retail. The burden of the actual organisation is dealt with to a large degree before the raid ever actually enters the instance. And a lot of the people organising weekly have been doing so for quite some time and sort of built up a roster of people they know are reliable, which happens when everybody's on the same server. All the same, pugging in WoW for, well, the longest time for me has been something that I did a lot back in the day, but I can say the idea of joining pugs these days is a bit of a mega nope for me, to be honest. Definitely less so in Classic though, but on retail, absolutely not. What about other endgame stuff in retail though? There's all of the collection things, which has become more and more popular ever since Blizzard really started to push it. I'd say around Mists of Pandaria or so. There were definitely a lot of collectibles prior to that, but it felt like then when they just went absolutely crazy with quote-unquote rares in the open world, all the different toys, all the new sources of mounts, it really felt like the start of the whole meta. And when it comes to collecting mounts, I mean, hey, I've already got the best mount as well as the most useful mount, so I don't really need any others. And as we all know deep down inside, battle pets are the real thing to collect in WoW, which I have, you know, a few of them, I guess. I started leveling battle pets in Mists of Pandaria for gold, doing a 2-pet strategy of all the legendary battles, and made a lot of gold off them, and then this kind of just happened somehow over the years. The actual volume of collectible items now is just so enormous that it feels a bit insurmountable if you haven't been keeping up with it expansion to expansion, and that each new patch is just throwing dozens and dozens of new toys and pets and mounts for us to go and hunt down. Saying that, I'll probably end up going to try and get the pets again because I know what I'm like. What about the other endgame stuff though in Shadowlands, affectionately known as chores? More dailies, callings, anima and renown caps, Torghast. Yeah, I did them for a few weeks, but for me all roads lead to raid and I hit the progress wall personally. So that kind of leaves me with where I am, not finding a reason to log in. I'll likely end up leveling each class to level cap in a later patch, because it really doesn't take that long on retail, and it would be kinda cool to see the other sides of the Covenant campaigns. Onto Classic though, it's kind of like what happens after I finish a current tier of raiding, what do I do now kind of thing. I've finished at this point the majority of what I wanted to do at the outset of the game. I still have a few reputations I'd like to cap out, but they can wait because they are the kind of pointless reputations that you just do so you can have a green bar in your rep tab, like Chendralar, Ravenholt, Winterspring Trainers. I suppose you get a mount for that, but Winterfall Village is just packed all day every day because people are farming firewater for Nax, so it would just take an enormous amount of time, when I know it's something I can do in the downtime between having done everything I'd like to have done in TBC. I've leveled all my classes to 60 and I finished all the in-game TBC prep that I've wanted to do, which I'll have to share that soon as well with you guys if you'd like to see that. But I'm definitely more of a raid logger as of recently, which is fine. It's not like, oh no, I must play WoW all day every day or I somehow hate the game. It has been about a year and a half now, which is the kind of consistent playtime I put in back in the day, so that's pretty impressive actually. What I have been doing instead is my IRL TBC prep, which I reckon has been going fairly well. I've got the new class series underway. Hopefully there will be a notable upgrade on the Was It Any Good Though videos if you've been along with me since I did them. And I was actually thinking doing a review of that series, maybe even a react, and seeing how close I got to the mark of how classes ended up being. I think that could be fun. Let me know if that sounds good at all. BlizzCon is creeping up on us very soon, the 19th to the 20th of February, remember? And just recently there's been a Netherwelt pet released as part of a promotion on retail, hint hint TBC, and Blizzard are even trying to get seal twisting working again after the spell batching change, which I'm very impressed with. Even if it ends up being a bit buggy initially, hey, it's a step in the right direction. They are doing the things that players are asking them to, which is great. But yeah, at this point, I'm more or less in full planning ahead mode. I want to get a lot of awesome content out for launch and really continue to push myself and the channel. And I'm excited to see where this goes for long term as well, beyond TBC. There is so much room for just cool stuff to happen. I mean, if Classic more than tripled subs at launch, imagine what TBC or even Wrath of the Lich King can do. In any event, there may have been less stuff on the channel as of late, but just you wait a bit more, I have some really cool stuff coming up. It should pay off. Anyways, as always, thank you guys so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you all in the next one very soon.